We tend to forget that there are so many millions of Nigerians out there who have never been to the airport and may never ever been to the airport in their lifetime.
Most people, when they fly, they look at the different airlines and they choose to say, okay, this one is charging 80,000 to Abuja, this one is charging 60, this one is charging 55. I think I'm going to pick. I need to look at my pocket.
We have technical problems, we have airplanes down, we have pilot shortages, we have everything, and nobody bothers to replan. So they hope to manage the situation.
There are a basic difference between crash landing and emergency landing and precautionary landing, and also an abnormal landing.
So what the consultant does really is visa advisory and guidance. So we guide you on the documents required, when to apply.
Duty of the pilot is to try and allay their fears by giving them the history of the flight.
It's not a big deal that you're sitting in that hot. Airports are not cool though. They're hot space. They don't offer you water. You've passed break lunch time. Nobody's offered you lunch. Nobody's taking care of. So we have real customer service issues led primarily by poor management.
Hi, welcome to your #1 aviation and tourism TV show, Mamaj TV. My name is Joy Ubebo. Our topic for today is the difference between an emergency landing and a crash landing. We are privileged today to have on our show today Captain Sanusi, who is a seasoned pilot and an aviation icon in the industry. Captain Sanusi, we all know, is a very busy professional, but despite his tight schedule, he was able to give us few minutes to explain to us the difference between a crash landing and an emergency landing. Are you ready to learn? Let's go.
So first, the reason why most of the passengers are scared of flying is because they don't understand the dynamics and the science behind flight. And most of the passengers believe that it's magic, this big metal flying into the sky. So there's always a science to it. And I think the duty of the pilot is to try and allay their fears by talking to them, giving them the history of the flight, and also as they pass landmarks, the pilots should be telling them this is where we are, this is what is happening. They will feel comfortable if they are always being talked to, and give them a brief on the routine and everything, talk to them. And it's also good as they check in, as the passengers are coming on board, they see the faces of the pilots. They know they're human beings. There's somebody who is taking care of them up in the cockpit. I sometimes blame our journalists for making this sensational news. Oh, the airplane crashed, landed. Oh, the airplane had an emergency landing. But there are a basic difference between crash landing and emergency landing and precautionary landing, and also an abnormal landing. There are differences, of course. First, I will discuss the crash landing. A crash landing, it's first, the aircraft must have substantial damage on either the fuselage, the wing, or the engines, or even the landing gear, that is the tires. It must obtain a substantial damage. Secondly, if there is a crash landing, that means at a particular point, the pilot has lost control of the airplane. So let's say the airplane is on approach. Even at that particular point, if the pilot has lost control of the airplane, and the airplane goes and lands without the control of the pilot, and the airplane veers the wrong way and has substantial damage, that's a crash landing. Now, if the pilot controls the airplane up to the level of the airplane landing and staying on the runway and there is no substantial damage, that is not a crash land. Even if the 4 tires burst, that's not a crash land. Now, if a pilot controls the airplane up to the point that he lands on water or on a field and there is no substantial damage to the airplane, that is not a crash landing. If you remember the pilot that landed on Hudson River in New York, they didn't say crash landing. The pilot said, we can't make it to the runway. We are making an emergency landing on the Hudson River. And he landed. There was no substantial damage to the airplane. Well, the airplane probably will be written off because it's in water. But there's no substantial damage because of the landing. The passengers came out all fine. Everybody came on the wings. We saw the pictures. And the headline was not a crash landing, an emergency landing on water, on the river. If a pilot lands in a field and he managed to bring the airplane to a stop and there's no substantial damage on the airplane and he controlled the airplane up to touchdown, that is not a crash landing. If a pilot lands or he intends to land in the airport and there is and just 50 feet to touchdown, he lost control of the airplane. And the airplane came and rolling on the airport, just like the Sanusi crash, the unfortunate Sanusi crash in Port Harcourt. That is a crash landing.
I hope you found today's show very informative and educative. Because of time, we are not going to be able to conclude on this show. So we promise to continue on the next show. So make sure you don't miss it. Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channels on all our social media platforms. Bye.